On July 19th, the Swiss broadcaster revealed that Geneva and Basel were shortlisted as potential host cities of Eurovision 2025, which means that Eurovision 2025 will either take place in Geneva or Basel, and in this video, I'll talk about why I think Basel will be the host city of Eurovision 2025. So let's start. There are various factors in game when it comes to hosting Eurovision. It's the venue, number of available hotel rooms, and safety, but also things like connectivity, airport availability, and political climate. But what's also important is how competitive and passionate one city is about hosting. We have seen in past that cities like Amsterdam or London that were fulfilling all the criteria were not chosen for the host city. Let's begin with the first thing that always comes to our mind when we think about hosting, and that's the venue where the show would take place. According to EBU's criteria, the venue that would host Eurovision needs to be able to accommodate at least 10,000 fans, and the ceiling has to be at least 18 meters high. Moreover, the venue needs to have all the available rooms for delegations and journalists. Basel proposed St. Jakobsschal Arena, which can accommodate up to 12,500 spectators, while Geneva's proposed venue is a large convention center Palexpo, which has capacity of 15,000 people. From this, it seems that Geneva can accommodate more spectators, and the one would just think that it's the city that will win the host city race. However, we have to bear in mind that both venues are eligible to host Eurovision, and in past we had cities like Liverpool or Malmo which had smaller arena than other cities, but they still won the host city role. In 2019, Rotterdam was chosen to host Eurovision 2020 over Maastricht that had smaller arena, but the main flaw of Maastricht was super low ceiling of the venue that did not fulfill the basic EBU's criteria. This tells us the venue alone is not enough to draw a conclusion about which city will be the host, and the fact that Geneva has bigger venue does not mean that it's going to be picked. Furthermore, Zurich had the venue of the biggest capacity of all the venues that cities in Switzerland proposed. And it is not even shortlisted city, which is already a hint that the biggest possible venue is not main criteria to Swiss broadcaster if all the shortlisted cities already satisfy minimum criteria. This is leading us to consider other factors too. So let's talk about hotel rooms. The Basel has approximately around 9.7 thousands of hotel rooms, while Geneva has around 7.8 thousands rooms, which gives a huge favorability to Basel. Not only has Geneva fewer hotel rooms than Basel, but it is also a more popular city. Geneva is a global city that draws lots of other tourists from all over the world who don't come specifically for Eurovision. So that would make the demand bigger and the accommodation prices would go super high in a city that is already very expensive, which makes Basel not only a more spacious city for an event like Eurovision, but it is also more affordable. For instance, in last couple of years, the cities that were not the main hub for international tourists like Rotterdam or Malmo were being picked over more popular cities like Amsterdam or Stockholm. Another interesting thing about Basel is the fact that it is a city that is located on a border between two countries, Germany and France, which makes a good story for Eurovision as Basel acts like a city of unity through music, which is the main theme of Eurovision slogan. The proximity and connectivity of Basel to other cheaper cities in France and Germany also contributes to a Basel being more affordable option than Geneva. It is also a city in German-spoken area of Switzerland, and Eurovision has never taken place in German-speaking city in Switzerland, which makes it likely that it's going to get picked over Geneva. One last thing that makes Basel more favorable city is the fact that EBU's headquarters are located in Geneva. With the current controversy over Israel participating, I just don't think that EBU wants the protests in front of its main building that would distract all the other Eurovision events. So they will just pick the city that is far away from them. These are the reasons why I think Basel is going to be the host city of Eurovision 2025, offering more hotel rooms, having better context and story for Eurovision as an event supposed to unite people through music, and not being very crowded with other international tourists is a reason why it will be a preferred choice over Geneva.